from the last system to this system is night and day. And if you ask anybody who's been here through that transition, they'll tell you like, man, like the Belfry is way better than what we were using before.
Hey, I'm Tajay Conkright. I am a customer success manager here at Belfry. I spend a lot of my time making sure our customers get the full value of the Belfry system. And today we are joined by Leroy from Scout.
My name's Leroy. I'm with Scout Security Group. I'm an operations manager, so managing all of our officers and doing client success and account management. So interfacing both within the company and then outwards for the client success piece.
That's awesome. Just to jump right into it, we'd love to learn a little bit more about you, Leroy. You have such a unique background. I'm hearing you play D1 ball, also earned a computer science degree, but now holding operational roles in service companies. I'm curious, what originally drew you to operations work and figuring out how to run things behind the scenes?
Yeah, a great question. Kind of like my background being an offensive lineman is what I actually played in college.
Okay.
That is, you're in the trenches all the time. We're the only positions that you hit every play. And so I kind of resonate with just doing the groundwork, doing the work behind the scenes. You know, as an O-lineman, you do all the hard work. You don't get any of the praise. Nobody sings your praises. And the only time that people say your name is when you screw something up.
Sure.
And so that's always been gratifying work to me. I don't need the accolades and things of that nature.
Yeah.
So ops work is very similar. You're behind the scenes, making sure things run. And when everything's running smoothly, it's quiet, you don't get mentioned, and you're only getting dinged whenever something breaks.
So before joining Scout, you managed hiring, scheduling, and operations in other industries. How did that experience kind of shape the way you solve problems today?
Yeah. So how that shaped the way I solve problems today is that I got experience in leadership, honestly. Experience in what people want in a leader. Starting off pretty young, you're in charge of people who are older than you and you're asking them to do things. And so there's a little bit of respect that needs to be earned. I learned that just building community, building relationships, building that rapport with your team allows them to trust you. Once you have that rapport, once you build that trust, people will climb mountains. And so I think that's something I learned. I also learned that you got to show up every day and be the example for people. So if I'm asking somebody to go out and do something that's hard, I can't be afraid to go and do that work. And I can't ask somebody to do something that I would never do. So I think that a lot of what I learned doing that originally is just leading by example.
Sure.
And then certain things like characteristics of, you know, people, tendencies, you know, when you hire enough times, you can kind of see like, hey, like this tendency of this like personal or this profile tends to be successful with this criteria, or this type of person, generally speaking, may not be successful. So you just kind of make smarter hiring decisions the more experience you have with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Curious, what surprised you the most about entering, this specific industry?
It's different. My previous industry was lawn care and landscaping.
Sure.
And so just a completely different demographic. I also think that just security in its own nature, the demographic is just different. You know, you are monitoring, detecting, observing, and reporting.
Absolutely.
It's very different from, being outside 10 plus hours a day in all types of inclement weather. And so I think there's just a different mentality and mindset. And so for me, learning to adapt and adopt a different way to communicate and lead, train, coach, and mentor this demographic of personnel was definitely a surprise for me and a challenge that I've had to learn.
Yeah, absolutely. So now that you're about a year into this role, what do you enjoy most about the security space?
I really enjoy building the relationship with the guys. That's always been something that's gratifying for me, is just building a relationship with the team, letting them know I have their back, showing up when they need me to, and just always being there, taking care of them and celebrating wins and supporting them whenever they need help. Also hearing them out. If there's issues, if there's people that aren't supporting the team's success, being able to address those problems and just being a problem solver. I've always looked at operations as like our goal is to make sure we support the team that's out there doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
So we get them what they need, whether it be equipment, whether it be more money if they need it, time to see me, open door policy. So for me, that's my favorite part of it, is building with the team, taking care of them. And something that's also a little unique is just like interactions with our clients. You build deeper relationships when you're doing commercial versus residential.
Sure.
You have a lot more clients in residential. The relationships are more shallow.
Okay.
But when you're commercial and you're dealing with these big properties where you have people managing these properties, you tend to build rapport over a year plus long contract. You see them often in meetings, you're out there at events. And so
yeah,
that's also something that's been fun and new for me as well.
What are maybe some of the challenges you face day to day as an operations manager?
I mean, I'm sure like anybody in security will say like it's 24/7 industry, call outs kill you. That's just the challenge, you know.
Yeah.
3 a.m. somebody needs to go home with rumbly tumbly, so
Yeah.
it just never stops. That's probably the biggest challenge. I think Belfry's really helped in the fact that you can manage mobilely. Like, so the Belfry app has been like a godsend blessing. Like, I'm able to do
Yeah.
scheduling on there. I'm able to send out shifts on there. I'm able to plug people into the shifts. I'm able to edit times, and so it's like a one-stop shop for me, like managing schedule on the go.
Yeah.
I may not always be in front of my computer. It may be a Saturday. I'm out having coffee with friends. Hey, somebody calls me. They had to stay an hour later, and so I need to change the time. And so just being able to adjust on the fly has been really helpful for me.
Love that.
Our previous provider didn't have that application feature, so it was always like you had to have the computer wherever you went, just in case you had to pull it out.
Absolutely. On that note, I know, when CJ, your CEO, made the decision to move Scout onto Belfry nearly a year ago, what were some of the things that you noticed about that shift? You just kind of spoke to about the mobile experience, but is there any other things that you felt with that transition?
Yeah, I feel like user interface was night and day. Just being able to navigate through all the menus and find things, be very clear and coherent. User experience is really important whenever it comes to any type of technology.
Absolutely.
And so I think Belfry taking a fresh approach, a modern approach to how they design the both web application and the mobile application was really a breath of fresh air for me. Having a computer science background, I really appreciate when things are well designed. That was the biggest thing I noticed, like, wow, this is excellently designed.
Love that. What we hear so much in security is scheduling is such a core part of the job. We'd love to learn a little bit more how Belfry has changed the way you plan coverage, manage call-offs, and assign shifts just using the software.
Yeah, I think the bell tower and just the marketplace in general has been really helpful.
Yeah.
Because immediately for people who may not have used Belfry, they have a marketplace in which shifts can go out to the public, and it's curated by like experience, availability, and different types of parameters in order to select who you would like to send this shift out to.
Yeah.
Then people can see this, they get a notification on their phone, on the Belfry app, and they can be like, oh, I'm interested in picking up this shift. And so what it allows you to do is, instead of actively having to just call like, oh, I have a call list of like these 10 people that I know like hours, but of those 10 people, there's only like 3 that can work this shift. I'm also not thinking about the 20 other people that could possibly work this shift because it's all in my head. You just get basically an indicator of like, hey, these 10 people are interested. So you can choose from that. And so that's been really helpful. That's been massive for us, I feel like. Another thing is not so much with scheduling, but just like actively managing operations. When you're looking at the bell tower, you can see who's on shift, what their activity has been like, if they're moving around. You can actually look and see if any incidents have been submitted on their shift. So it's like you can get real-time data that's super helpful. You get a map overlay that shows you where they're at on the map. So just like the real-time data and analytics has also kind of up-leveled our operations as well, being able to see where people are at on their shifts. A lot of security companies use these NFC tags just to confirm people are driven to areas of focus. I mean, so you're able to look at those NFC tags as well and make sure that people are doing that. And so again, it all ties back into like a well-designed product that was thought through thoroughly before it was implemented. And that's just been helpful because you guys have had a real understanding of what the challenges are for security companies, and the fact that you guys have a focus in security, right? It's like, we know our market, we know who we want to serve. And so that's come out in the actual product itself.
We love that. I think we can probably clip that whole thing for Belfry. On that same level, love to hear a little bit more about the reports and the incident reports. Have your officers or maybe supervisors kind of giving feedback about that experience when filing reports in Belfry? Or maybe have you even heard feedback from customers or clients about how those reports are generated, the professionalisms of it, how they're able to access it?
You have the PDF that's generated. The distro list has been really helpful. So you can set it up to where as reports are happening in real time, officers are on their apps, they're submitting an incident report. Belfry, you can go customize a report, put your own types of tags in it as well. And all of it is then packaged with the distro list of where you can put different clients, different emails. And so when an officer hits submit, it automatically gets emailed without any back end process. It's super helpful, but also, it's something you can turn on or off, so it's customizable as well. So let's say you want to go ahead and audit a report before it gets sent out, or you want to audit specific reports, it gets that granular. We have a client here who just wants amazing reports, top tier with all the details. They don't mind if they get it the next day. Cool, we can turn the distro list off. We can actually have the reports be sent to our email, so we automatically get notified. Then we can review the reports, clean it up as needed, and then send it out. And there's other clients where they want it right away, as soon as it happens. And so we can also have that turning on that parameter and have it sent out immediately to whoever needs to know. And so I think that portion of the reports has been really great for us.
Yeah.
as well as being able to build your own customized reports. Some clients want a specific maintenance report that may be different from the Belfry incident report. And so it's helpful to just be able to build it as needed. So very customizable.
You spoke about supervisor mode in the mobile app a little bit earlier, something that we just released earlier this year, letting supervisors handle active shifts, reassign officers, edit time cards, file reports, directly from the field. Love for you to talk a little bit more about how this change has helped your officers kind of handle issues on the fly. And then curious if you've noticed or seen fewer bottlenecks now that supervisors are not, tied to the desktop.
Yeah, I think the supervisor mode it's been helpful because before we were actively managing a little bit of everything, schedule, reports, all of that. We've actually gotten away from doing all the reports, and at some of our sites, when our more competent supervisors, we're having them manage and review all reports and sending them out before. So we can be hands off on some of those accounts, where before it was like we had to manage every report that came through for every site. We're looking at all these and then we're sending it out to the clients. We've actually trained up supervisors, given them the access and ability in Belfry to do it, and then trained them to our standards. So that's been really helpful. And also too, what's been like, this is something that I've just taken for granted because we've been doing it for so long now with Belfry, is like being able to know who your relief is.
Yeah.
You're going on the app and you're able to see, hey, I know who the person is. So we don't have to send out a phone number every time. It's like, hey, here's the person. Here's the button to call them. I can instantly call my relief.
Yep.
So there's no more surprises in terms of like, hey, if there's a last second call off and we replace somebody, I don't know who's going to be working, and there's not the communication piece. And then it becomes another operational bottleneck where we're like having to remember, oh yeah, and by the way, we need to let this person know that there was a scheduling change and we need to give them their contact information. That's just all those extra steps removed. When
eliminated now.
Hey, my relief.
Yeah.
So that's been like massive for us. And then also like our supervisors being able to know like when there's holes in the shift, they're able to see the schedule and they can actively manage that. They know their team, they know who their people are, who they would like to do it. And so what you have now is supervisors actively going ahead and filling shifts without us having to be involved in that. And that's when it gets really fun, because you just like see, hey, they're managing their account, doing what they need to. And like when the bigger problems come, they can escalate it up to us.
On that same note, kind of talking about your supervisors having that autonomy to fill their own shifts, we've been making some improvements to the shift marketplace. Some new improvements will be coming in 2026 as well, just so that, you can offer open shifts to officers. They can claim them. You can fill that coverage faster. And do you see that you and most of your team are kind of using the shift marketplace regularly?
All the time. Oh, yeah. Well, we'll call it, give it to the fishes. You put the rod out and you reel it out, that's the bait. And so when we put it in the marketplace, like, hey, we got to send it to the fishes, see if you get a bite when people request a shift. A bite, and then hook, fill the shift. And we use it all the time. Like literally this morning, somebody called out instantly, put it out there in the market, see what we got, had 6 people request it, just like that.
Yeah.
Instead of having to actively go text, call, hit up as many people as you can until you get a yes. It's just like, hey, there's people out there who want hours. There's people out there who want to work. We say that all the time. They just don't even know it yet. And so utilizing the marketplace is like, it's great because
100%.
now they can come and find the work. We have to go find them.
Yeah, for sure. Especially this time of the year when maybe people are trying to pick up extra shifts, holidays approaching. Gives them that autonomy. I want to shift topics a little bit on performance analytics in the system. We launched firm-wide officer performance analytics, really giving you a bird's eye view of on-time rates, call-off trends, individual officer performance across the entire company. Curious, are you using the officer performance analytics today? And if so, how does it help you kind of identify coaching opportunities or even reliability patterns for your officers?
Totally. I mean, it allows us just to have data-driven conversations. Takes a lot of the emotional and personal out of it. We can just sit down and we're having a coaching opportunity or a counseling or any of those types of conversations. We go like, hey, here's the data. Here's the trends we've noticed. And it's just like either you're doing excellent or like, hey, we need to improve in some areas. We do something called an officer of the month. Using that data is really great to say like who's showing up on time, who's completing their tours, who's submitting XYZ reports. Because it's no longer like, oh, I have a warm fuzzy feeling about this person, I just like them. It's like, no, we have data to show like who's performing very well, and they're key performance indicators. Like we care about who shows up on time. We care about tour performance, especially when they're scheduled. And so it just allows us to communicate through and to issues, and also to and through high contributors without speculation. So it's actually something I just used yesterday when I was communicating through a tardiness pattern that I was noticing.
Mm-hmm.
It was great. You have the wheel right there, said 47% on time. It's like, hey, I'm not making this up. This is what the data shows right
Yeah.
now, you know? So it's great. And it allowed us to just communicate through data.
Yeah. How the officers kind of responded to being able to get that specific data, whether it's positive or maybe there's room for improvement.
Everybody wants to know how they're doing. Nobody
Yep.
wants to kind of be left in limbo. So it feels really good when you look and you see like A plus B, you know, and it probably doesn't feel good when you see a C, D, F. And so it's motivating either to continue doing what you've been doing or like to improve.
Yep.
And so getting rid of the ambiguity and be like, hey, like, this is it. You're doing really well. Like officers respond to that. And once they see that, like, oh, I didn't realize that I was doing that good, or, oh, I didn't realize I need to step it up. That was really helpful. Thank you. It was a lot of our experience.
Would love that. Curious to learn more about Scout. What we've seen, the time we spend in the office, Scout has a strong culture. Seems like it's competitive and supportive and very team oriented. How would you describe the environment at Scout day to day?
Yeah, at Scout, we hard workers, we want self-starters, people with high integrity, people who like to problem solve, you know, critical thinking. And so we just want to foster an environment of excellence and support. We want to build relationships with people. We want to support our clients and take care of them. And we want to make sure it's kind of similar to like a sports or like the military thing. It's not like, it's not the name that's on the back, but you know it.
Name up front.
It's the name up front, you know what I'm saying? And so we want to just make sure that that's the culture that we put out there, and that's what we try to provide to the team. And a lot of people respond to that, especially people who just like to do excellent work. And I think that just having our CEO, our president, CJ, being former special operations, you know, we got a lot of military culture. George was a former combat vet. He's another account operations manager. Our director of operations, Walker, also former combat vet, Army commander. And so, like, we have a lot of dudes that care about doing things at the highest of level.
Yep.
But we also have a culture of like taking care of our people, wanting them to know that they're supported, that they're known, that they can come to us with anything that they have, whether it be professionally or things that are going on at home. And so we really are big on family environment. And if you were to ask some of our team members, they would say that too. There's been people who've been tried to be poached at other companies, maybe get paid more, but it's just, you know, you can't replace that feeling of just being known, being heard, and feeling like you have a safe place to come and work.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I saw that you all as a team did a Tough Mudder together.
Oh, yeah.
I guess curious, what does you think that says about Scout's culture, about your commitment to growing together and doing difficult things together outside of work?
Yeah, I mean, we like to go hard in the paint. Like, it's pretty much that simple.
Yeah.
The Tough Mudder was a beautiful experience. You know, we did have both the director of operations, president out there, myself included, open invite to all the guys and gals. We paid for it. We wanted to do is get people to challenge themselves to get out of their comfort zone and be comfortable doing an environment with people that care about them. And so we want to provide those opportunities. Actually, later in the year, we also did a Spartan race, but we'll also do things like backpack drives for the kids when they go back to school. We'll throw Christmas parties.
Yeah.
So we try to mix it in for everybody, because that might not be everybody's cup of tea, but you know, it's kind of like our branding thing. Like, you know, Scout, we're tough, but we also care.
Yeah.
And so just do a little bit of everything. But I think that's what the Tough Mudder was about, just the opportunity to spend some time outside of work with people that you work with.
Tough, but we care. I think that's a good tagline.
Yeah. Our unofficial motto is the equalizer meets Chick-fil-A. You know, we want to have that great customer service.
Yeah.
But we want to turn it on, equalizer mode if we need to.
Yeah. We'll turn that Denzel on.
Yeah.
How does having a modern, unified system like Belfry support that culture that you're talking about, specifically around communication, accountability, and staying aligned with the team?
I think specifically for our more tenured officers, it shows that we're serious about improvement. From the last system to this system is night and day. And if you ask anybody who's been here through that transition, they'll tell you, like, man, like the Belfry is way better than what we were using before.
Yeah.
And so in terms of fostering a culture where we're committed to excellence and growth and continuing to be better, that's a clear example. Like, hey, we're investing in this software. We're investing in training people on this software. And for the newer officers, it just shows that, like, wow, this organization has their stuff put together very clean. You can do all the onboarding through Belfry. All the documentation is through Belfry. You can see all the analytics. So what it shows is, like, this is a competent organization that's professional and has their stuff wired tight, not a fly-by-night company that's doing things sketchily, that barely has their stuff together. And so I think that is how Belfry kind of interacts with our culture, and like just providing this uniform front of like, hey, we are highly competent, professional, and we handle business.
Yeah. In closing, you know, love to hear from you. If you're talking to another operations manager who's kind of frustrated with their current system, what would you tell them about Scout's experience, you know, moving to Belfry?
I would say that it's worth it. You know, it may be a little challenging getting everybody's information from one system to another, but that short-term pain is worth it for the long-term gains you get in efficiency, in better use of tools, better management of time, better workflow in general. Something that might have took you 10, 15 minutes before may just take you 5 minutes now. Yeah. So if there's an ops manager out there who's frustrated, I would first say, like, write down the things that you're frustrated about. How could I make this better? How could I possibly automate it? And then I would just look at Belfry and see if they have what you need, if they can offer some of that stuff. I would say that they do a great job at trying to be a one-stop shop for security companies, keep everything in-house. You can do so much in the Belfry system. We didn't even talk about there's a client portal that you can use that clients can have access to, so they can see the schedule, so they can see reports, so they can monitor officers as well, so they can send out communications to the entire team through that portal if they would like as well. So there's so many different tools, and you know, Belfry is a company that's young and hungry. They have engineers that are constantly pushing out updates. They are not complacent. They're growing. We can send in tickets. They get handled. There's been literal features that we were wanting, and they've implemented it in real time. And so, like, that is a value add that we weren't getting with another provider. And I think that alone in itself is so invaluable. Like, it's so valuable. So I would challenge and behoove the ops manager to, you know, give it a try.